Well, good morning. We're very fortunate this morning to have Oren Gilad, President and CEO of Atrin Pharmaceuticals. And Oren, thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi, Joe. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. Happy to share Atrin and our story with you.
That's wonderful. So, Oren, you have one of the most interesting origin stories in terms of how your flight path brings you here. If you would, take us all the way back to your time in Israel, your service in the army, and also your time on the kibbutz. And can you share that story with us?
Happy to do so. Yeah, so I grew up on a kibbutz in Israel. A kibbutz is a community that support each other. You contribute as much as you can and you consume as much as you need. On the kibbutz, I worked in aquaculture, more specifically in fish farm. And back then, the industry was moving from open, muddy pond into super intensive. So I volunteered to learn the science behind the technology. And that was my undergrad. And at the kibbutz, you really learn about work ethics. And because work is a value on the kibbutz. If you don't do it, it's just not going to get done. And then I did serve the army. I served in a special unit. And in the army, you learn about leadership and you learn about teamwork. And those skill sets I brought with me to Atrin.
So, but there were a few stops along the way. You acquired some credentials to get to the point that you are today. Let's hear about that, and then I'd love to hear about how you got to Penn and how things took off from there.
So yeah, I did my undergrad in Israel, and then we left the kibbutz. My wife Debbie and I moved to Davis, where I did my PhD. There, I did my PhD in pathology, working on herpes viruses that causing high mortality in fish. So that went pretty well, and then from there, I did a first postdoc at the UC Davis Cancer Center with Sinjin Kong. He's the research director at UC Davis. Penn then recruited my wife, Debbie, to run their research compliance and integrity for the School of Medicine. So we migrated here to the East, also where her family is located. I reached out to Eric Brown and I said, I would like to join the lab as a postdoc and learn more about the DNA and DNA replication. And it was a good match. And I joined Eric's lab and we started working on this protein back then called ATR. And when we start working on it, so we have really asked the question, what if, can this ATR be a good target for cancer therapy? And so we found that it can be.
Oren, you shared with me one really great story. And that really was the moment in the lab when you and Eric had the decision that let's just study the behavior of what happens here. Love to hear about that story.
It was a very unique time. It was that was also the aha moment. So we did talk a lot about, can ATR be a good target for cancer therapy? And we started with a very simple experiment. We had 4 groups. We had normal cell treated. There was no drug back then. It was by molecular means to reduce the level of ATR. We had cancer cell and cancer cell treated. So when we set up the study, we looked at the results. Started with the normal cell. Everything looks normal. Cells are growing, cells are happy. Looked at the normal cells treated. They're growing, they're happy, no effect. Looked at the cancer cell, same thing, very proliferative. I mean, everything looks normal there. And then we went to the cancer cell treated, and we could not find not even one cell in that group. All of them were just dead. That was the aha moment. And it's also the moment that I realized that Money needs science in order to grow. Science needs money in order to progress. And that's where the idea of Atrin came. And we published this study, and American Association of Cancer Research ranked us top 2-3% for the year. And that really got the attention of the industry. And that's what got the field going at the time.
And Oren, you told us before, it's somewhat obvious when you pause to think about it, but Atrin Pharmaceuticals, tell us the derivation of that.
So Atrin, right there, that stands for ATR inhibitor. Atrin started as really between Wharton Business School and the School of Medicine. We took some entrepreneurship classes over there, and that's what got the company started. From there, we started the company, and in 2012, we've been looking for a place to move into. And we are located at the Biotech Center in Doylestown. We looked at other places, and we found this environment to be the best fit for us. It's very supportive, lots of scientific discussions, almost felt like a village where you can really go and have good scientific discussions. And it was also easy to acquire skill sets to help us get started. So we came here, started with 4 empty walls. And then Hank Breslin joined us, and other people start to join the company. And now the company has a product that is getting to on track to get to first in human trial first quarter of next year. We have other drugs for different routes of administration. We're working on a pipeline. There's a platform. Lots of excitements taking place right now, and we went so much progress since we first started with 4 empty walls and an idea.
Oren, let's reconnect with Eric Brown. How does he plug into the whole story?
Eric Brown is brilliant and one of the most passionate people you'll ever meet. He's still involved with the company. He's acting as our chief scientific officer. We have weekly calls with him. He's excited about the program that we've made. He's excited about the company. His contribution is just impressive, and it's priceless.
So if I understand correctly, Eric is still at Penn. Yes. He is on the institutional research side, continuing to develop his studies, and you've taken on the tall order of commercializing. So we talked a little bit about the connection with Penn, and the idea that that this therapy could go literally from bench to bed at Penn.
Yeah, so I moved to the dark side, right? The industry. I moved to the very dark side, and we are excited because our first patients we wanted to be treated at Penn. And that's from bench to bed. So the idea started in Eric's lab on the 4th floor of BRB. First patient to be treated at HOP, which is less than half a mile away from where this journey started. So we like the idea of, and we are very involved with Penn. We're a Penn company, Penn on equity in Atrin, on their portfolio. There's very positive interaction with Penn, always positive, always welcoming, always warm. And we are super excited to get the first patient treated at Penn on campus, right where this journey started.
So, Oren, you've talked about 2 really important connections to the Philadelphia cluster. First, obviously, the University of Pennsylvania. I don't think there's a cluster without Penn and Penn Medicine.
Yep.
And you also mentioned the PA Biotechnology Center. So why has Philadelphia been so important to Atrin, and how has it helped you grow here?
Atrin was born and raised in PA. We were born and raised between Penn and the center where we are in Doylestown. It is really, there are lots of good people with skill sets that can help drug development. All of the ideas have been generated here. All the intellect has been thought about here. The drugs have been synthesized here. The initial biological studies for the proof of concept has been made here. only after that we went out and expanded and got CROs involved, because we do not have the in life. We don't have the mice, we don't have dogs, we don't have rats. We have, you know, the chemistry, we have the biology in-house, we have pharmacology, we have regulatory and clinical. So that's where we extended out. But I think we're lucky to have a farmland. So between J&J, Merck, Teva, there's so many good companies around, and lots of people with appropriate skill sets to help us and have been helping us supporting the company. And if you also look at the board, if you look at everybody involved, everybody's local. So there's a lot of talent, there's lots of good people who are willing to go and carry that wagon and put the work and knowledge to make this happen. We've been very fortunate.
And Oren, you talked about working with CRO and CDMO, and one thing that we haven't really hit yet is your relationship and your work with WuXi, and the
Yes.
fact that also WuXi has a big presence here in Philadelphia, and it sounds like that relationship has gone exceedingly well.
Yes, we are very thankful for WuXi. It is a pleasant working with them. We have chemistry FTE. WuXi helped us with the IND studies. They're always accessible. They don't treat you like a small company who has no value. You always feel welcome. They always have the resources to help. If there is any question, there's always somebody to talk to. The quality of work is superb. It doesn't fall from any other CRO. We actually went to their sites and we visited the sites. Very impressive. It is top notch. It is clean. It is high quality. The reports we're getting, the communication is very open, very transparent. We've been very fortunate to work with WuXi, and WuXi has been and is still a major part. We see them as partners, really, we do see them as partners. They're helping us a lot with everything that we need on the chemistry, on the IND, and other things that other works that we need help with.
We talked a little bit, not specifically, about ATR N119 and that as your lead drug. And I'm really interested to get a better understanding of the pipeline behind and your progress with that. It's the future sounds extremely exciting. Please share a little more about that.
Thank you. Yeah, the future is exciting, and coming up with ATR 119 with the second generation and the other products that we have for different routes of administration took a lot of time and thoughts, because we've been in the field for a very long time. We know what needs to get done. We know what the characteristics of the drug that needs to be in order to have it a good drug, what the drug does to the human, what the human is going to be doing to the drug. So different fields, different niches have different needs. And with ATR, you have to be very selective. You have to be very specific. In DDR, you have different features that you have to consider in order it to be a good drug. And that's what makes 119 a good drug. And that's what also makes the backup analog a good drug. It goes in, it gets to the tumor, it kills the tumor, and it has very low, a very safe profile, very safe tox profile. We're seeing negligible anemia, neutropenia. It works as single agent monotherapy. It is preferable for combination therapy because it does not have overlapping toxicity with other drugs that we are going to be targeting in the clinic, which then means that you have to compromise on the efficacy and the dosing. So 119 has very favorable, it is a good drug. We're excited about taking it to first in human trials. The other one that we have another project with Yale University for GBM. And this is through injection of the drug with nanoparticles to the brain. It's a different drug, it's a different chemical entity because it needs different physical characteristics to match with the nanoparticles, and you slow release it over time in the brain localized. There's also one that we're going for leukemia and lymphoma, and that's injectable. And then there's a pipeline. We're working with Joe Vaca to enrich the pipeline and develop target drugs for other targets. in cancer. So everything Atrin does is synthetic lethality, targeting DNA damage and response.
So 2021 is going to be a big year for you,
Yes.
and it's clear to me that that we're going to want to touch base with you in about 6 months, see how things are progressing, both with the trials and then also with your funding and your advancement. Oren, it's been a great opportunity to share some time with you today, to learn, particularly to learn about ATR inhibitors and about Atrin. We wish you the best of luck and look forward to getting together again soon.
Thank you very much.